Hello, H2O. Just when we thought the circumstances of 2020 might get lighter, the last week has been a reminder to us of the brokenness of this world. The killing of George Floyd has served as a wake-up call that we have a long way to go in fighting injustice and racism in our society. And the resulting protests have demonstrated the disunity and the tensions that exist in our country and in our city, especially when those cries for justice are met with judgment rather than solidarity. Each one of us is probably having their own reaction to these events. Anger, confusion. Personally, I felt a great deal of sadness. And Vivek and I will be the first to admit we do not have answers to all the questions that these events have brought up. But we thought it'd be worthwhile to just be reminded of a few things as followers of Christ. Do Black lives matter? Yes. Period. Every Black man and woman is made in the image of God, deserving of honor, dignity, respect, and justice. And in times like these, when a people come forward and say, we do not feel heard, we do not feel respected, there is injustice that is happening. We need to pay attention. Not because this is a political issue, but because as Christians and as a church, we believe that justice, and specifically racial justice, is a kingdom issue. And that the scriptures speak loudly against injustice in any form. So we need to engage. And first, we're called to pray. And I know that this idea is often marginalized as a cop-out, but as cries go out for justice and tensions rise in our nation, we as a church want to mourn with those who mourn and cry out to the Lord for justice and healing alongside all who do so. We believe in a God who brings justice. We believe in a God of redemption. Last Tuesday, Othniel led us in a time of prayer for justice. As a church, we hope to do this again next Tuesday at 7. We want you to look for the link online. But we don't want to stop there. As we engage with protests and the anger of those who feel marginalized, we listen. You know, our church, H2O, is somewhat diverse. We have some minority representation in our community, but we're not really truly reflective of the diversity of our city and our campus. And so what that means to us is that we should probably be doing even more listening than the average person, than the average community, asking even more questions and prayerfully considering what we hear.
You know, I've been trying to put into practice what John is talking about here, and as I've connected with Black men and women that I know within our local church, but then also abroad, there's one major theme that seems to be coming up, and that's just that we need to educate ourselves. We need to educate ourselves in multiple ways, and there's two things that come up in particular. The first is this: we need to educate ourselves on what people's personal stories are. I know for myself that's just been so meaningful when someone's taken the time to ask me, hey Vivek, what's it like for you to be a minority in a predominantly white church, or what was it like for you to grow up in a city that was predominantly white? You know, I know each one of us has unique individual stories, but taking the time to sit and ask someone their story makes a huge difference. It helps people feel seen and heard and respected. And the second one is this: we need to educate ourselves on what are the policies in place within our city, within our state, within our nation. What are the things that our leaders are valuing and championing? What are the things that we want to see championed and valued within our communities and our cities? The more we can educate ourselves on how things are being run and how money is being sent for certain things, the more we can speak into certain situations as they come up. But all of this is just a posture of learning for us.
And you know, the posture of learning is for every one of us. None of us have arrived. You know, last night there was actually a protest in my neighborhood. A couple hundred people came out to protest in front of the mayor's house, and my family and I went, and we went with a posture of just wanting to listen and learn. We tried to talk to as many people as we could just to hear stories so we could continue to educate ourselves. You know, some of you are probably daunted because you don't know all the issues that are involved and you feel like you're not exactly sure. It's okay to not understand, but we can humbly commit to learning. And when we listen and then we learn, the next thing we need to do is we need to ask God how to act. What are we going to do differently? How much do we really value reconciliation and justice? And I know that that makes many of us uncomfortable. Talking about these issues, dealing with the uncertainty, it's tempting and easier to just put our heads in the sand and hope that this whole conversation goes away. Guys, it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to feel that way. The journey that we're on to be made more like Jesus Christ, it's going to be uncomfortable, but it's worth it. it's worth it to engage.
Thanks for listening, church. We have 2 other quick highlights for you. The first is this. We're going to be starting a new sermon series this Sunday called The Unseen. If nothing else, the brokenness in this world should hopefully help us see that our battle is not against flesh and blood. There is a spiritual battle going on. There is a kingdom issue in all of this. And so how can we as a church battle together for the kingdom? That's what we're going to be investigating in the first part of this 5-part series. So come join us this Sunday. And then the second one is this, the H2O Network Summer Intensive. It kicked off this Thursday with 9 other H2O churches, and the focus is how do we hear from God, which seems more pertinent now than ever before with all the things going on in our world. So we would love to welcome you. It's not too late to sign up. It's absolutely free. We can have the schedule be flexible to try and fit for you. So sign up, come join us. We're looking forward to the summer together. That's all we have right now, church. We love you. We're praying for you, and we're excited to connect more soon.